Hi there, VC. It's Steve Whitty again, counting down to Christmas. Today's video is part 4 of the recent finds June to November series. It's the final part, 12 records to show you. I hope everyone is doing well and they're not too stressed out by Christmas, but hey ho, let's crack on with the records. First up, Miles Davis and his version of George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess. I just saw this. This was in sort of like a cheap charity shop, and I thought Miles Davis. I thought I'd pick it up. Plays okay, gave it clean, and it's okay. Cover's a bit battered, but here's some words that you'll never thought you'd hear from me, and it's a Columbia 6i. So yeah, it's an American pressing. Seen better days, but you know, for the price, plays, as I say, plays okay. I know you've got to be careful with jazz. It's a bit like classical as well. You've got to make sure that it's spotless, but it'll do for me. That's the important thing. Another charity shop find where I thought I'd take a punt, and this is Changing Times by Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. I'm aware of them. Headley, another fat bearded man talking about records, mentions these a lot. And basically what attracted me to the album is it's coming out late 60s. So its selling point was the use of the track Foggy Mountain Breakdown, which is featured in the film Bonnie and Clyde. And then on that, top of that, it does versions of Dylan's Mr. Tambourine Man, Don't Think It's All Twice, It's All Right. Oh, to Billy Joe's covered on here, Blowing in the Wind, It Ain't Me, Babe. Does This Land Is Your Land, Where Have All the Flowers Gone as well. So it's quite an interesting listen. I quite enjoyed it. So it is something that's staying in the collection. Yeah, so that's pretty, yeah, happy to pick that up. Something a bit different. This is Rufus and Chaka Khan with Ask Rufus. This came out in 1977. And as you can see now, looking at the cover, Chaka Khan, the same featuring Chaka Khan, but really it's almost like led by Chaka Khan sort of thing. It's just, this was the selling point of the record, and there you've got the back cover there. Excuse me, these slide off. So yeah, it's good. I've got a couple of Rufus albums in the collection, so this was a half decent price, cut off at the corner, released on ABC. I don't know really any of the songs that are on the album, but it was good. It's another one that stays. Out the £2 bins, as what? And this is Live and Direct. Released as a mini LP by Island. Island did a few of these mini LPs. Basically, there's 9 tracks on here. You could call it a full LP. It's recorded live at the Notting Hill Carnival in 1983. It's got a little title with Air Jamaica there as well. I've got the debut album. As well, one of the most important bands in UK reggae. They sort of morphed into more pop lovers rock towards the 80s, but yeah, this is really good. It's a really vibrant sounding live LP. So yeah, I gotta say it was in the £2 bins. The cover's a bit knackered. So it's been belonged to. Well, whoever belonged it originally wrote on it, and then it got crossed out when somebody else brought it, and so yeah, it's all right. The record plays okay. Something a bit different. Noi and their debut album. This is I believe a 2002 reissue. It's on white coloured vinyl. A band that I was aware of through the krautrock era, but never really listened to. An influential band. I get this in. As I mentioned, I think in one of the earlier videos, Ultravox used the exclamation mark as a sort of tribute to Noi in their name when they originally started. It's a good album if you're into that sort of thing, which I am. So enjoyable to listen. A bit more up to date, and this is Timaran. This is Amatasu, all Beyond the Fear. I've got some of their albums on CD and another vinyl album. Them I do like this sort of music, Tuareg music. Yeah, really, I find it quite soothing to listen to. It's always worth seeking out if you see it. Daniel Lanois makes an appearance on pedal steel guitar. So yeah, it's good. 2023, last year it came out. So yeah, really good. Again, something that's found in the chick bins, and I thought I'd take a punt on this. This is the soundtrack to the Who film Quadrophenia. It came out in 1979. Kick-started, I suppose, or cashed in on the mod revival that was going on in the late 70s. Once the initial bust of punk, people started drifting off and finding their own directions, such as new romantic, mod ska, whatever. And this, but one of the byproducts was Quadrophenia. Now, the film itself stars Phil Daniels, who appeared on Part Life. Toy Walcox is in there, and Sting plays the face. Quite a bittersweet story, actually. Young man who finds belonging in a gang and somehow ends up being totally disillusioned by it. But the album itself, it's got some of the tracks that appear on the original Quadrophenia album. But the interesting stuff, which is really why I sort of got it, is side 3, you've got Zoot, which was done by the High Numbers, as the Who were known then. High heel sneakers cross section, and then side 4 is just covers of tracks at that time. So you got James Brown, Night Train, Kingsman, Louie, Green Onions by Booker T, AMGs. That ended up being reissued after this album as a single and made the top 10. Rhythm of the Rain by the Cascades, He's So Fine, the Chiffons, Be My Baby, the Ronettes, and Do Wrong Wrong by the Crystals. So it's not a bad album, a tour soundtrack. I haven't seen the film in years, but I do remember it actually being quite a bittersweet experience. Moving on, Yellow Magic Orchestra. This is their debut album. This originally came out in 1979. I think this is a 1980 reissue. Cover's slightly different. It's quite a strange album. I was looking after Shop for Pete, and I put this on. I was aware of the name, but I hadn't really heard any of the music. And the first track is Computer Game, and it literally is just a recording of a computer game. All you hear is like one of those old games, and it must be a shoot 'em up, because it finishes with the sort of sound. But once it kicks in, it really is good. It's very influential. Obviously, Japan, Ryuichi Sakamoto ended up working with Japan, went off on his own as the band. I think he only did about a couple of albums, and then they sort of split up. But it's well worth seeking out if you like electronic music. And for something completely different, this is kman, Fandangos in Space. How can I best describe it? It's prog, but I would probably say it's flamenco prog. It's by the name kman, and you've got some of the band, Roberto Amaral's one of the band members, the vocalist, very heavily influenced by that sort of Spanish rock. And I think it's a concept album produced by Tony Visconti, and it's actually not too bad. It's not too bad. A lot the old, and but it's really good. I don't know where to get the title Fandangos in Space. They did make a couple of albums and sort of disappeared. But notably, one person on there, John Glascock, and went on to become bass player with Jeff Red's Hull in the late 70s. Yeah, it's not bad, you know. For £8, you can't say no. Right, got to be careful. I show this. Blue Mink. This is their album Fruity, and it's their final album. Now Pete goes to me, you need to listen to this. This is really funky, and it is. For those who don't know, Blue Mink were really sort of like a session band that sort of started up. Herbie Flowers played bass on them. He's a bass player. You got Barry Morgan, Ray Cooper appears on this album, Alan Parker and O'Dell. You've also got Madeline Bell and Roger Cook. Roger Cook was a songwriter, 860s. He was part of the act David and Jonathan. That a hit single, Lovers the World Unite. They formed late 70s. Best known track is Melting Pot. But they do some great stuff. And the version of Morning Dew, I thought I'd heard it all, but really it's a lot of fun. As I said, this was the final album, and the hit singles started to dry up a little bit. But they were very popular, and they toured America a lot. In fact, it's I think the last appearance at the Troubadour, Elton John introduced them on stage. That's the band. Well worth seeking out. He had a few of the Blue Mink albums I'd never seen before. They're not on Discogs or not on Spotify or anything like that. You can only get that sort of stuff as a greatest hit. So it's well worth picking up if you see it. Next up, kman, Space Shanty. This album came out in 1972. It's really sort of like Steve Hillage. Now, this copy came out on Travesty Records, limited edition 500 copies, and it's an unofficial release, so you won't find this on Discogs on sale. But it's an album I've seen people show and I've seen people play, and Steve Hillage, I've got a few of his albums in the collection. I thought I'd take a punt on this, and it's actually really enjoyable, and really do like the album. So yep, happy to take that. And then the final album. Now, I showed this in the vinyl tag as sort of like my best find in 2024. And this is Archive. You Look All the Same to Me. And I am really so happy to have a copy of this. Now, for those that don't know, Archive are a band from London, formed late 90s. And they started off, that Portishead sound. And they sort of graduated, the sound grew. This album has got elements of prog in it, and they came very big in Europe, particularly France. This albums sell well in France, and done soundtracks for French movies as well. And the opening track, again, which takes up the whole of side one, I will say is my favourite song of all time. I discovered this online on last.fm, where somebody who sort of followed me said, you want to listen to my playlist, and I did, and this was the first track on it. And literally, I think it's about one of the few songs, literally might be the only songs where I literally just tipped over in the chair and landed on my back. It's that good a song. It's 16 minutes long, granted. So, obviously, getting a CD copy is hard enough. I had to go through eBay to get a CD copy. When I looked on Discogs originally for how much a vinyl copy would be, well, I thought, this is never going to happen. It was never released in the UK on vinyl. Or if it was, you can't get it for low money. And even those in France, the original pressings or any reissues are going for 3 figures. So one day, as one does, you trawl through Amazon, and then I tend to look to see check on Amazon what's coming up, if it's worth checking out or any reissues or whatever. And I saw an Archive album, one of the later albums coming up has been reissued, and I thought, let's carry on. You never know. And I saw this, and I just literally pre-ordered it straight away. The price was reasonable. I only paid about 25 quid for it. And it's one of those where I thought, now I've got this, I don't really need to buy any more records. Then that thought passed. But yeah, I was so happy to have a vinyl copy of this. This is a stonking album. It's, as I said, it's trip hop, electronic, prog. It's a revolving lineup with this band. It's the core members, if I can find it. It doesn't give, like a lot of these things, it doesn't give enough detail. I'm just trying to think. It actually does. Oh, it's Darius, Craig, and Danny, who were in the band. I think Danny was the singer who joined the band at that time. It doesn't give them their surnames. Yeah, so much for research. But it's absolutely. I think it's one of the greatest things I've ever found. I've got round to finding. That's why I'm gushing so much about it. But yeah. Archive. If you get a chance to listen to it, stream it, find a CD. I don't know how many copies of this are left. It's worth checking out. So there you go. I am up to date up to the end of November. So I hope you liked what I've shown over those recent finds videos. I've had some quite positive feedback. Increase in subscription numbers, which is pleasing. You know, considering I've not done much, I've had nearly 100 new subscribers. I thought, wow, maybe if I pull my finger out. But yeah, I think this will be the last video before Christmas. So I just want to say to you guys, thank you for your support. Have a good Christmas. Have a safe Christmas. Be kind to one another, and keep an eye out for those that are on their own this Christmas. If you know, just to make sure they're okay. If you like what you see, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave a comment, yeah, and click on the subscribe button if you so wish. So have whatever you get to, make sure it's a good one. Keep spinning, more importantly, keep on smiling.